Namaste, greetings and blessings, and welcome to the Center for Spiritually Integrated Arts. This is our Sunday message, and I am Reverend Dr. Raymont Anderson, the founder and spiritual director of this center. And I invite you to watch not only this Sunday message, but any of our archived messages. I invite you to join any classes or events that we have going on. I invite you to reach out and email if you have any questions. Questions about this community, questions about me, questions about what we do, or questions about this science of mind and spirit, liberation theology that we practice and teach. And if by chance you find yourself seeking beloved community with other like-minded beings, even if you already belong, are a member of another community, church, or center, you are more than free to have multiple affiliations wherever you are fed and find community. You are invited. And lastly, feel free to click like, subscribe, and share this or any other message or announcements with others in your circle. And with that, much appreciation, love, and blessings. Enjoy the message. Namaste and welcome. Do what you want to do. Are you ready to do what you want to do? Because in order to do what you want to do, you have to be willing to be. Breathe. In the Science of Mind textbook, Ernest Holmes writes, nothing is real unless we make it real. Nothing can touch us unless we let it touch us. Refuse to have the feelings hurt. Refuse to receive anyone's condemnation. In the independence of your own mentality, believe and feel that you are wonderful. This is not conceit. It is the truth. Now, we're going to talk more about this a little bit later, but just let that come in. Let that just feel it for whatever it is right now. Now, while this sounds great, the questions that emerge are, how do we do this? And is this a realistic expectation? Like, can we really refuse to have our feelings hurt? Can we refuse to receive anyone's condemnation? Can we really believe and feel that we are wonderful when there may be certain traumas and experiences? Is it realistic? As Holmes writes, we all benefit from coming out of our emotional intoxication and be ourselves. You say, what now? Emotional intoxication. You know, some people get intoxicated on feeling bad, that has become their default setting, and they're unable, for a variety of reasons, to sober up into that space of, I am wonderful, and I have the ability to change and transform my life. Breathe, because this week we are going to explore precisely what coming out could mean for us individually and how that benefits the world as well. But in order to do that, we've got some questions that we need to be like Sherlock Holmes and find the answers. Many of you know that I love the Matrix, and in the Matrix, above the doorway in the Oracle's kitchen, temet nosce, know thyself. This is a key piece for us to have, to know, to embody in order to come out. Find out who you are and then do it on purpose. Find out who you are and do it on purpose. We could even change that a bit. Find out what you are. I am a divine incarnation of God. And that shows up as who? How does that embodiment show up? And then do that on purpose. Who are you? You are love made flesh. Do that on purpose. Who are you? Infinite wisdom and creativity. Do that on purpose. Who are you? I am the universe expressing. Do that on purpose. Because when we do that, everything shifts. Be the best version of you. But in order to be the best version of you, you have to know who you are. You have to know, what version am I presenting to the world? Am I presenting, we have these things called smartphones. But, many years ago, I'll use some props. Many years ago, this was the telephone. Yes, yeah. Oh, hold on. I have to. Which version of the phone am I using? Am I using Morse code to communicate? Am I using am I using a handheld rotary? Like what version of Windows do you have on your computer? What version of an iPhone? What version of you are you currently operating based on? The 5-year-old version of you? The 16-year-old version of you? The 50-year-old version of which version are you operating based upon? Because in order to be the best, you have to know. So, do you know? Are you willing to know? See, a lot of people, they know they got an old flip phone, Blackberry, or something from I bought my phone from Sprint in 1812. And yes, it still operates based upon the carrier pigeon technology. Don't you want to upgrade your phone? No, I like my phone the way it is. You can only store 2 numbers. They're the only 2 numbers I need. You can't take pictures. I don't like nobody well enough to take pictures. Don't you? No, I know how to work this phone. I'm comfortable. I remember when I was a public school teacher and we were switching out from chalkboards to first dry erase boards and then eventually to smart boards. And I remember so many teachers fought giving up their chalk for a dry erase marker. They fought, they complained. And then when the smart board came in, you would have thought it was a zombie apocalypse. These people rioted. You would have thought they were hunting down Frankenstein. So you might even know that it's an old version of you, but are you willing to upgrade? Are you willing to, as Queen Latifah says, are you willing to be bold? Be brave enough to be your true self. Are you willing? Moment by moment, breath by breath. Are you willing to be bold and to be brave enough to be your true self, the best version of you as of this moment, right here and right now? See, sometimes in the concept of coming out, in order to come out, you have to open the door. And many of us are more comfortable with our doors closed. We feel safer, more protected. And yet, the closed door can very easily become the prison door that does not allow us to truly live. We become so comfortable living behind closed doors, shutting ourselves off, that we miss out on what it truly means to be alive. So, being willing to open up, knowing how to open up, to know thyself, as Pythagoras said, know thyself. Then thou shalt know the universe and God. And when you know yourself, it changes how you show up, which means the more you know yourself, the universe and God shows up in your daily activities. It shows up in all that you do because it's showing up in all that you are. So, as I said, we were going to come back and revisit this. So, and I did mention something about, I think I mentioned The Matrix or something, a silly old movie. So, in honor of The Matrix, let's remix this passage. Are you ready, Neo? Yes. Let us remix. Okay. So, what it says in the remix is nothing is meaningful unless we make it meaningful. Nothing can diminish us unless we let it diminish us. While we will have hurt feelings, we can, however, refuse to be controlled by those feelings. We can refuse to accept anyone's condemnation of us or of another. In the independence of our own mental equivalence, we can choose to believe, choose to think, choose to communicate, choose to feel, and choose to act in wonderful, loving, and healing ways. This is not conceited. It is not ego-driven. It is not arrogant. It is the truth. We all benefit from coming out of our indoctrinated intoxication of non-life affirming conformity and subservience to the collective sheep people consciousness. When we choose to come out and be ourselves, we liberate the world. Breathe. When you're chatting with a friend, do you chat small talk or do you chat about what matters to you? When you're conversing with someone, do you ever ask them what matters to you? Do you listen to what matters to other people? Do you do what matters to yourself and others? What matters? For there to be a world that works for all, what matters? Equity matters. Diversity, inclusion matters. Love, compassion, belonging matter. If these things matter, are our actions demonstrating that these things matter to us? Are we speaking up about the things that matter to us and to others? In other words, are we advocating for what matters to another? Are we advocating for them? Maybe they are, for whatever reason, unable or unwilling in this moment to advocate for themselves. Am I willing to advocate for them? For example, walking down the street one day with Tracy and a group of friends, New York City, 42nd Street. Very crowded, very busy. And there's a young woman in her entourage in front of us, and her wallet is sticking partially out of her bag, which is on her shoulder, her purse or whatever, on her shoulder. And there's a gentleman here slowly approaching and slowly trying to get her purse. She doesn't know, so she cannot advocate for herself. Her friends do not know. They cannot advocate for her. I know. I know what matters. I don't know what's in her wallet, but I know it matters to her. I can hear the French accent and the French words, so they're probably tourists from France. The information, her ID, etc., in that purse matter to her. I listen with my eyes and my consciousness that know what matters to her. But do I do what matters? Do I speak up? Yes. Excuse me, miss. I tap her, which startles her, but he gets the away. She turns around and I say, there was a guy over there. He was reaching for your purse. You might want to tuck it. Oh, merci, merci. Oh, thank you very much. Thank you. Cool. Do we advocate for others when we know what matters? Be you. No, you know what? You know what? No, 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 no. Don't just be you. Be beautiful. Yes, Tracy, I went there. Be beautiful. And of course, we got to make the tiful mean something. So be you totally in full. Boom. Mic drop, message. No, we're not done. I still got more to do. But be you totally, in full. Don't be partially you. Don't be an old version of you. Don't be snippets of you. Be you. Totally, in full. And in so doing, do what you want to do. You want to laugh? Laugh. Do you want to cry? Cry. Do you want to flirt? Flirt. As long as all of this is done in a life-affirming way, do what you want to do. Do what you have to do. If you are anchored in principle and you have values, and those values call you to do certain things, be honest, have integrity, do it. Do what you have to do. You have to speak up in order to advocate, then do it. Be who and what you are. As a divine incarnation, you are the universe, you are God expressing. Be that in full. As beautiful as you are, as wise as you are, as creative as you are, be it in full to the best of your ability. Breathe. Dr. Holmes says from an issue of Science of Mind magazine, we really need more enthusiasm. We should not see this thing just as a law and a big, bright, brilliant goodness. We should see it as something vibrating with life, pulsating with warmth, and scintillating with color. Look how colorful nature is. We are too prosaic, too matter of fact. Color belongs to us because God is a colorful beingness. How can that which has painted nature with such a lavish brush be anything but colorful? How can that which is the paint of nature, nature painting itself, how could it be anything but colorful? And as that, and knowing that that is what you are, how can you be anything but colorful? And in reference to enthusiasm, how enthusiastic are you? Do you jump for joy? Do you dance like no one's watching? Sing like no one cares other than you? When we talk about enthusiasm, do you know the root etymology of enthusiasm? Did you know that the root etymology of enthusiasm means entheos, in God? When you are enthusiastic, you are in God. God is in you. God is, period. It is because of God that you are able to jump for joy, that you are able to sing praises, to create, to laugh, to nurture, to cry, to enjoy. It is also to be possessed by a God, to be taken over. We are so, instead of being prosaic and matter of fact, we are overwhelmed by the colorful nature of the divine as us. And because we are so overwhelmed by it, our cup runneth over with this beauty and this color. We can't help but to jump for joy. It is also inspiration. In spirit is the etymology of that. To, once again, be in spirit and spirit to be in you, to be of one with that which is the divine. So once again, when you know yourself, then you must know the universe and God, because knowing yourself is to know the self, which is God, which is spirit, which is source. So if I know myself only as Ray, that's just my name. I would still be me if my name was Jet Li. Oh, sorry. I would still be me I would still be the divine incarnation of, I would still be different name. So to know thyself is to truly know thyself. No matter the weight, no matter the age, no matter the gender, no matter the amount of hair, no matter any of that, the divine is infused in, through, and as all of it. So know thyself, and you have no choice but to know God and the universe as yourself. Yeah, I know we could stop right there and that would be enough, but we're not done. Nelson Mandela says, breathe, I am fundamentally an optimist. Whether that comes from nature or nurture, I cannot say. Part of being optimistic is keeping one's head pointed toward the sun, one's feet moving forward. There were many dark moments when my faith in humanity was sorely tested, but I would not and could not give myself up to despair. That way lays defeat and death. We are currently in an era of many dark moments with the current administration and many things that are going on, not just in the United States, but around the world. Many dark moments that could easily lead to despair, easily cause us to lose faith in humanity. And yet, if we know what humanity truly is, God expressing, are we losing faith in God? Are we losing faith in our own self as a member of humanity? Are we willing to, as Mandela says, are we willing to fundamentally be an optimist? But let's talk about what that even means. Because, I'm sure we have, in one version or another, seen some reference to this. Is the is the glass half, is the glass half empty or is it half full? Which one is it? Is the glass half empty, pessimist, or half full, optimist? This is the general idea when we talk about, but I want to push us even further than that with what Mandela said, and Dr. Holmes often refers to us as practical or practical idealist. And what does that mean? Pause for a second and think about it. Technically, the glass is always full. As the image says, half of it's air, the other half is water. So the more accurate mental equivalent of this whole concept is not always an either or, but a both and. Which means, in reference to this, the more effective question is, what am I looking for? When I look at the glass, half full, half empty, whatever, what am I looking for? Because to a certain scientist, when they're looking at the glass, half empty, half full, whatever, they see it fully full. Because one, the glass itself as a solid, molecules. It's full of molecules. The liquid, it's full of molecules. The air, it's full of molecules. So the glass, the fluid in the glass, and the absence or the air, it's full. And even if we talk about the quantum field and whatnot, and we talk about it's 99.9999999% empty space. That empty space isn't empty either. There's energy that still moves. The glass Our optimism is ever full when we know to look for it. And not just to look for it, but to look from it. Are we looking at and are we addressing our lives and the world from the perspective of God, from the awareness of the divine? Enlightenment is not about becoming divine. Instead, it's about becoming more fully human. It is the end of ignorance. When we are embracing our humanity, we are embracing our divinity if we understand that they are not two separate things, but that they are one thing. Just as the glass half empty or half full, it's one thing, it's full. We are the divine expressing in and as this thing we call human. But even our humanity is an expression of our divinity. Evolution is the awakening of the soul to a recognition of its unity within the whole. Material evolution is an effect, not a cause. This reverses the popular belief declaring that evolution is the result of intelligence rather than intelligence being the result of evolution. I've asked many times in the past, how many humanities are there? Referencing the human race. How many human races are there? It's only one human race. Humanity as a oneness, a wholeness. And if you are human, which I'm guessing you are part of that oneness and wholeness. And your humanity cannot be separated from that humanity, because that would mean there are two kinds of humanity or two human races. There aren't. So even in the concept, you cannot be separated from the whole of what the whole is. Evolution is recognizing this oneness and this wholeness, and from this awareness, wisdom and intelligence arises. And from that wisdom and intelligence that arises, because we know and we know what we know how to practice it, which then gives us the ability to change, to heal, to transform our lives and others. As Marsha P. Johnson says, no pride for some of us without liberation for all of us. None of us are free until all of us are free. I cannot say that the concerns of Marsha P. Johnson, I'm not transgender. Her concerns are not my concerns. What? Is Marsha not human? Well, yeah, but there is no but. There is no but. It's either liberation for all or liberation for none. It's either a world that works for all or a world that works for technically none, even though we may seem to, well, it works for the wealthy 1% of the 1%. It's not even really working for them, which is why they hold tight to the reins of oppression and control and domination, because if it truly worked, they wouldn't need to subjugate people and oppress people and kill people. They wouldn't need to. The mere fact that they do is a clear demonstration that it doesn't work for them either. How do we bring this energy of pride, what pride represents, as the liberation, because that's how pride started, as a protest, the gay liberation movement. How do we bring the energy of pride, of coming out, of coming into ourselves, into our daily actions, our conversations about what truly matters, so that we are, in fact, the architects of a world that works for all? Now, one thing that often comes up in this concept as Pyotr Androvich Kipyip was a Russian anarchist, blah, blah. Okay, yes. He said, no evolution is accomplished in nature without revolution. No evolution is accomplished in nature without revolution. Periods of very slow changes are succeeded by periods of violent changes. Revolutions are as necessary for evolution as the slow changes which prepare them. No, go back. Thank you. Which prepare them and succeed them. So what I'm going to highlight in terms of this is this concept of revolution, because I hear it very often within New Thought as a particular energy or a particular concept. So if I were to ask you, revolution, what does it mean to you? There are many possible definitions and synonyms. Generally speaking, any of these possible words could come up for you. Revolution as rebellion, revolt, insurrection, protest, any of these. But did the other possible meaning for revolution come up? To turn, to rotate, to move in cycles, a circuit of something, to whirl, to twirl, to evolve. So keep in mind, revolution isn't simply both and, not either or. Remember that? Both and. So the energy of revolution can be life affirming or non-life affirming, life denying. Our deeper question when looking at this is, remember at the beginning, what are you looking for? In revolution, are you looking for love? Are you looking from and for the space of love in the turning, in the transforming, in the evolution and the metamorphosis of the collective consciousness? See, it's a revolutionary act to heal generational trauma and generational curses. It is a revolutionary act to end segregation and slavery. It's a revolutionary act to liberate women and give them the right to vote and more. So revolution is not always violence. Revolution is transformative and healing when we approach it from that energy, from that awareness, from that space of, I know myself. And in so knowing, I know the universe and God. And from that energy and from that awareness and from that space, I now show up as part of the engineering crew that changes and transforms the world. I bring love to the world. My enthusiasm by being possessed by love itself. I am an architect for love and unity and oneness. But I have to be willing to do the work. In the book, Creating a World That Works for All, Sharif Abdullah offers a key element in halting the blame game is to see that we are all, wow. Oh, I gotta breathe this in. Every time I read this, I gotta breathe it. We are all beneficiaries as well as victims. Who has not benefited from the creation of the toxic waste dump? Who does not have a plastic telephone or a host of other chemically based products? Who has not eaten chemically produced food or worn synthetics as clothing? Who has not paid for war, death, and destruction with hard-earned tax dollars? Even though many of us are afraid of it, we all benefit from the toxic waste dump. Some benefit more than others. The key thing here is to recognize we all are in this together. The blaming of the rich, the blaming of a certain political party, the blaming of a particular individual in a certain political party is not enough to heal or transform. If I want to truly be a part of creating a world that works for all, then I have to understand that by owning a cell phone, knowing that the parts and how this came to be meant that some people, children in fact, have to be subjugated in modern day slavery to mine elements that are then used to create cell phones. I can't simply la 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 la, ignorance is bliss. I'm doing my part. I'm recycling and I'm fine. But I need, I'm in line to get the new iPhone because I gotta stay up on the, Then, as Audre Lorde said, what I'm trying to do is bring down the master's house using the master's tools. You cannot end racism with racism. You can't heal hate with hate. So in order for me to truly work at creating a world that works for all, I have to get real serious about how am I contributing to a world that works for some? How am I allowing binary thinking, either or, good or bad, how am I allowing binary thinking to ensnare me and limit me and keep me as part of the problem rather than part of the solution? Often we reference yin and yang as though they are two separate things, and they're not. It's technically yin yang or yang yin. In yo in Japanese or yo in, because it's one thing that we describe in binary ways, but it's one thing. It's one energy. It's one flow. It's one way. It's one. It's not either or. That's why within yin you see yang, and within yang you see yin, because it's not either or. It's both and. How am I invited to, in a more empowered way, in a more authentic way, embody the both and, human and divine, limited and limitless, temporal and temporary in the amount of years that this body, and infinite and eternal? Not either or, both and. How am I invited to embody that? Breathe. This is often attributed to Ralph Waldo Emerson, whether he is the originator of it or not. History only knows. To be yourself in a world that is constantly trying to make you something else, someone else, is the greatest accomplishment. To be yourself when they want you to conform. To be yourself when they want you to fit in. To be yourself no matter what is the greatest accomplishment. Now, in the grand scheme of things, conformity in and of itself is not bad. We conform to the speed limit because it's safe. We conform to certain other things for safety and, various other things. So there's a certain level of conformity. That's fine. It's life affirming. But non-life affirming conformity, Are we aware of how that shows up in things such as peer pressure and bullying, being ostracized for any number of things? And in what ways do we allow non-life And in what ways do we allow non-life affirming conformity to hold us back? Remember those sheeple from before? When are we operating from a sheeple consciousness versus a I gotta be me consciousness? You're not standing out for the sake of standing out. You're standing out because you're just being you. Everybody else is doing whatever, following the crowd. But you're not. Or are you? This is a very famous image, and I've shown this image many times before, and I'm showing it again because I want to point out this is conformity in a non-life affirming way. And yet not everybody is conforming. You see him? You see the nonconformist? You see the one standing on his head like that other image, where the other sheeple are going along with the crowd, being bad. One individual. What's the greatest accomplishment? To be yourself in a world where everyone else would rather you conform. He said no. Eventually, it cost him his life, but he said no. Do we have that kind of integrity? Is our mental equivalent in such alignment that we too would say no when there are thousands or hundreds of thousands following one particular line of conformity? Would we say no? Not on my watch, because I know who and what I am. And I'm going to do what I want to do. Breathe. Gandhi says, always be a first-rate version of yourself instead of a second-rate version of someone else, or even a second-rate version of yourself. Don't try to be the best you were 10 years ago. Be the best you today. Surprising thing is, the best you today might even actually be better than the best you then. That's how evolution works. That's how enlightenment works. That's how awareness and growth work. Kaizen, that's how it works. So do your best to always be a first-rate version of yourself. But in order to do that, you have to know yourself. Do you know yourself? In expressing more life, we are expressing a greater degree of infiniteness of the spirit. Remember what I said before? Both and. Finite, temporal, temporary. Infinite, eternal. Both and. So in you expressing more life, in me expressing more life, in we expressing more life, we are actually expressing a greater degree of spirit's infiniteness. We are more completely personifying it, embodying it. This is the real purpose and meaning of existence, of living. It is the nature of the spirit to express in, through, and as us, not in imitation, not in fear or want, but in freedom. Breathe. One of the reasons why I love this image, not just because they're superheroes, but because it blends both Marvel and DC, yes, but also because This is a representation of many of the LGBTQIA2 plus comic book characters from both DC and Marvel. Now, why is this important? Why does this matter? Because representation matters. Remember what we said before? Do you do what matters? Do you know what matters? Do you ask what matters? Do you talk about what matters most? Representation matters. This is why DEI is important. In fact, this is why DEI actually is spiritual practice. Because all of the individualized expressions of God should equally be honored and loved and cared for, correct? No aspect of God should be discarded or disrespected or destroyed. We should honor every person as a divine expression, which means representation matters. In other words, as I've often asked people before when they say it doesn't matter, if I were to ask you to name 5 television shows with a predominantly, pick a topic, predominantly lesbian cast that's not a comedy, it's not stereotypical, it's not camp, predominantly people of color, people of indigenous, First Peoples origin, doesn't matter. Pick something. Can you name 5? No, because we don't have that level of representation right now. But it's starting. And the more we allow it to bloom and blossom and harvest, the more we are learning about each other, getting to know you, getting to know more about you, getting to know me, getting to know more about me. The more we do that, the more we click, the more we come together, the more we recognize, the more we honor, the more we build a world that works for all. Yoko Ono said, "You change the world by being yourself." By being your true and authentic self, it changes the world. It's a natural byproduct of it. And when 2 and more are gathered in the name and the nature of being oneself, radical, revolutionary change happens. Because this is why Margaret Mead said, "Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens who knew who and what they are, do not doubt that they could change the world, because indeed, they are the only ones that ever have. That is the only energy that ever could." So how are we being part of the solution? Breathe. The Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0 offers us a path, practice, and way of being that is a holistic, whole, and holy representation of what we are, God, and how we choose to embody it. If we choose to believe or even consider the following, then it must change how we live, move, and our being in life. Breathe. Everyone is an incarnation of God and a unique incarnation. All are rooted in the one life. Your endeavor, then, is not so much to find God as it is to realize God's presence and to understand that this presence is always with you, because it is you. Many people make a mistake in thinking it is enough to claim that God is all. We must realize there is one power, one God, one all, one life. And that life is in me as me now. I am a manifestation of that one. Breathe. The life within you is God. Whatever is true of God is true of your life, since your life and the life of God are not 2, but one. And lastly, to desert the truth in the hour of need is to prove that we do not know the truth. The Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0 gives us a way to prove that we, in fact, do know the truth, the whole truth, and only that which is true as expressions of God. This week's affirmation, our declaration, I will say it first, and if it resonates with you, I invite you to say it with me the second time. I love who I am, trusting my divine wisdom and creative power to guide me in every step. Together, I love who I am, trusting my divine wisdom and creative power to guide me in every step. And so it is. This week's journal questions for your own personal spiritual practice or for the Thursday night study group. How have I and how do I conform in both life affirming and non-life affirming ways? What in life matters to me? How do I demonstrate that it matters to me? In what ways do I, because of binary thinking, still believe I have to be something else in order to be happy or healthy or loved or rich? What would it mean to be truer to myself and to come out? Number 5, going back to the Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0 page where it says it offers us path practice, that slide, go back to that one and those statements. What do each of those statements offer or mean to you, mean to me, as a mental equivalent? If you're not sure what that means, send me or Tracy an email. The slide where I say the Science of Mind and Spirit 4.0 offers a path, practice, and way of being. That slide. I shared specific quotes to think about, meditate on, and embody. What do each of those statements mean to me as a mental equivalent? Number 6, how does my being myself change the world? And lastly, what revolution, love, ocean, what revolution of being am I being called to embody? How am I allowing love as the revolutionary catalyst? How am I allowing that to be embodied? And once again, this week, our practice, our how do I put this to use? Have a conversation once again. This time you're conversing about the slide that said, nothing is real to us unless we make it real. Nothing can touch us unless we let it touch us. In conversation, do you agree? Do you disagree? Why do you agree or why do you disagree? Simply practice the understanding of it by having a conversation about it. And breathe. And breathe. As we enter into that space of infinite awareness, God is all there is. Spirit is all there is. This oneness is all there is. And what it is, I must be. If it's all there is, how could I be anything other than what it is? How can I be anything other than an expression of it? And what is true of me is true for everyone watching. Spirit, source, God, the universe, whatever we call it, it's all there is. Love, all there is. Joy, all there is. Beauty, all there is. It's it. Many names, but it's the same thing. Many names, but it's the same thing. Just as I say, we could call something H2O. Someone else calls it Mizu. Someone else calls it agua. Someone else calls it Wasser. Someone else calls it, someone else calls it, someone else calls it, someone else calls it. Many names, but one substance. And no matter what the name is, I can't drink the name. I drink the substance. It is the substance itself that nourishes and quenches thirst. So regardless of whether we call it God, source, spirit, the universe, regardless of what we call it, are we embodying it? And then allowing that embodiment to be who and what we are, the truest part of us, to be the best version of us, to be the true version of us, and to express that as we live, move, and have our beingness, navigating the ins and outs and the roundabouts of all the things in our lives, so that we are truly a healing presence, no matter where we are, no matter who we are in front of, no matter who we are conversing with, no matter what. We are who and what we are as an expression of grace and love and wisdom. And just like if I put on cologne, I can't stop it from smelling. I can't put a barrier around me and say, the cologne can only go 6 inches away from my neck. I spray it. And I know that wherever I go, there is an aroma that even when I have forgotten about, I'm not thinking about the cologne or that I sprayed it on at 6 a.m. It's now 5 p.m. And somebody walks past and they say, oh my goodness, what's that cologne you're wearing? And it catches me off guard because I'm like, cologne? Oh, that's right. I did put cologne on. I live, move, and have my being in the same way that no matter where I go, when I am not thinking necessarily about grace and goodness and love, the aroma is still present and ever present. And that someone walking by gets a whiff of, what is that smell? That's beauty. What is that smell? That's love. What is that smell? That's God. I want some of that. And then the conversation ensues, and then they realize, I already have it. Oh my God. Oh my, I am God. That which God is expressing in, through, and as me, even when I didn't know. But now that I know, it changes how I go. It changes my amen. It changes how I live as answered prayer. It changes how I embody and speak and live the truth. Today I choose to come out and be my authentic, divine, beautiful, and glorious self. After all, that is what God is. And so it is. And so it is. Blessings, love, and appreciation, everyone. See you sometime during the week because we're starting our stuff back very soon. Our Wednesday night, Thursday night's already going. We got classes coming soon. Blessings. I will see you during the week, or I will see you next Sunday. Do what you want to do.